Good morning. Magandang umaga po. Today we're going to talk about first of all a correction to what I posted yesterday regarding the Balikbayan visa and some additional information that is sort of dripping little by little through the pipeline. So stay with me. We'll talk about it. Yesterday, I announced that the Balikbayan program is being lifted, but I said that the foreign spouses and children, the foreign spouse and children of Filipino citizens or former Filipino citizens are going to be required a visa. I'm incorrect on that. I was thinking about the older IATF resolution. In this resolution, they will not be required a visa. Okay? So let me explain to you some of the additional information that I gathered. Again, foreign spouses and children of Balikbayan person will not be required a visa. And children that's accompanying the Balikbayan person could be of any age. He could be 40, 50 years old or not a minor. They will be allowed visa free. So what documents do you have to bring? Well, you need, and this is some additional questions I'm getting through the comment section down below, all right? What documents do you need to bring? A birth certificate, and some people say, can I just show my old birth certificate, or does it have to be NSO or PSA approved? My understanding is it should be NSO or PSA. If you got your birth certificate from NSO before it became PSA, that certificate is still valid. Okay? Now, is a copy of the document acceptable? I don't know. If I were you, if you have the original, bring it with you, because the Philippines is so document-oriented, and sometimes or many times they always require an original. So bring it with you. Don't be afraid that you might lose it. Bring it with you. You don't want to get into trouble. Or you can present an old, expired, or unexpired Philippine passport, okay, to show that you were a former citizen of the Philippines. If you are required for the spouse a proof of marriage, you have to bring your marriage certificate as well. Now, does it have to be NSO or PSA authenticated? I don't know. Just bring whatever you have with you. If you have the authenticated one, so be it. Bring that one with you. Now, for duals, if you have a Philippine passport as well, that's all you need to bring, in addition to your foreign passport, of course. But if you do not have your Philippine passport, like a lot of people don't, bring with you the following: a dual citizenship identification certificate, or identification certificate as proof of recognition of Philippine citizenship. That means if you did not apply for dual because you were born a Filipino, you will need to present an identification certificate to prove that you are recognized as a Philippine citizen. Note that in all cases, this is very important, you need to have a pre-booked 7-day hotel quarantine. Otherwise, you will get deported. That's what they say. You will get deported, so you have to have a pre-booked 7-day quarantine accommodation. Now, some additional questions asked are, how about SRRV visa holders? If you already have a visa and you are locked outside of the Philippines because of this pandemic, you are now allowed to come back in. However, you need a DFA document that exempts you. Okay, you need to still get an exemption certificate. Now, some people will ask, well, what is how am I going to get the exemption certificate? How can I be exempted? I don't know. They don't list the criteria or the situation where you'll be exempted. Maybe, for example, if your family is in the Philippines and then you just got locked out of the Philippines because of the pandemic, maybe you'll be allowed. But I'm not saying that is the case. You may be allowed. They do not list those situations where you can get exempted. Okay? So just be open to the fact that you may not get approved. Another good news is 30-day visa-free admission and this is for countries that are allowed to have 30-day free admission, is back again. However, you also have to have a DFA exemption letter or certificate. Here is some examples. Suppose you have a girlfriend in the Philippines and you are you are supposed to get married on a certain day. To me, that is a valid reason for you to be exempted. You may be required a lot of documentation, like a letter from your girlfriend in the Philippines, maybe the invitation and blah, blah, blah. Don't expect the immigration office to just go ahead and give you this letter without you having to present any proof of what you are claiming. To me, that is what the exemption certificate or letter is about. The decision is strictly left in the hands of DFA, and they should be given some latitude to approve or disapprove you. But once again, you are now allowed to go back in. For people, for example, who have been locked out and they already have a family. They have a family and children. They're legally married in the Philippines, and now they got locked out. You may be able to come back in again. Just need to get a DFA exemption letter. Again, no details as to who get the exemption. There was also a question, can I fly to Mactan, or if you're going to Cebu instead of Manila, or if you want to go to Cebu instead of Manila, because in Cebu you're only required to have a COVID test when you land, and then stay in a quarantine hotel while you're waiting for the result, and if you're negative, you're free to go. And then from there, fly to Manila. So that is the question. The answer is this: I don't know. Okay? But I'll tell you what I heard. I heard that when you're flying to Cebu, the airline would require you to have a 7-day quarantine anyway. Even though the government of Cebu is saying that no, you only need it while you're waiting for the result of your test. I don't know how true that is, but that is what I heard. So check with your airline to see if you can get away with 2-day reservation, for quarantine reservation. But one thing I know for sure, where you land, your first port of entry is where you're required to get tested and quarantined. So if you're flying to Manila and then going somewhere else, Manila is going to be the point where you need to be tested and quarantined. If you're flying to Cebu and then going somewhere else, Cebu is the place where you need to get tested and quarantined. There is no word yet on 1,500 capacity limit for passengers entering the Philippines. No word on that yet. I'm still waiting to hear what is going to happen. The other question was, well, just how do they measure the 1,500 limit? I don't know. I'm sure, for sure, the airline knows, so you can ask the airline that if the person you're talking to will even know. I would imagine one way of doing it is for the government to say, okay, Philippine Airlines, okay, EVA, you're allowed X passengers. This way they can limit the number of reservations and the number of people flying as long as they're within that capacity limit. And considering that the volume we had before was like 3,000 or more travelers, and now they cut it down to 50%, I'm sure whatever quota they give them is going to be filled. That's the only way I think it can be done. I don't think it can be done sort of concurrently as they are booking. Have we reached the capacity limit yet set by the Philippine government? They will not be able to tell you that unless they have a set target as to the limit on the capacity that they can take. So that's the only thing I can think of. This is one step towards the reopening of the country. I just wish they can get rid of this testing and quarantine, because that's one thing I really hate. Okay, I'm no longer hearing from people that couples are being required to get 2 rooms. I'm no longer hearing that. I hope they corrected that. That's another silly thing that was happening in the Philippines. For those people who have actually experienced getting an exemption, experiencing this and that, I'll appreciate it if you could share it with us, me and the viewers, what your experience has been. Please do share it with us in the comment section down below. I'm sure other people will appreciate that, and I will certainly appreciate that as well. Thank you so much. Please do share this with other people. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe to my channel and please click like. Thank you so much. Make it a great day. God bless.